Well, you good?
I'm good.
Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And we are here on another exciting episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast, which is a podcast for gamers who don't have time to game. And this is our end of the month episode for April.
Yes, sir.
Man, it's been a fast month. I feel like time is exponentially growing faster every single day. I don't know, like, it's crazy that April is already over, that we're, getting through 2025. It's hard to believe.
Josh.
Yes, Ryan.
Whatever will we talk about?
We've got lots to talk about on today's news episode, that's for sure. All of it revolving around one particular company.
No way.
Way. Most of it revolving around one particular company. But no, that's it's been a wild ride for the month of April, for sure. Before we get into that, though.
Oh?
I have something to complain about.
Oh, here we go. That's good, because I'm going to complain a lot.
Well, So as a girl dad, I have a daughter. This is something that you will not be able to relate to, probably.
No relation. I got nothing.
But and of the 4 dads on this podcast, only one other would actually be able to relate to me on this as well. So, Barbies.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, Barbie dolls. So my daughter is at that, still in the stage of life where Barbies are a big thing for her. She likes playing with Barbies and getting Barbies. And so she's gotten some over the years, obviously. And more recently, I've started to notice, and it's always been a thing. I've just started to kind of be annoyed more by it recently.
Okay.
The way that they package Barbies is the stupidest thing that you could possibly imagine.
All right, tell me more.
So,
because I have no idea. Like,
they're impossible to get out of the case. But two, the other thing is, they always have the little plastic things that you would have on like tags.
Oh, yeah.
Like the little plastic pieces with the things sticking out. They're always in their head.
Huh.
That's how they come packaged. They have these little plastic things sticking out of their head, and you can't get they're too tight to the head for you to pull up and be able to cut them without accidentally cutting
Barbie's hair.
And you don't want to do that.
I don't imagine that your daughter would appreciate that.
No, absolutely not. So I don't know, there's just so much about them, the way that they package them, that feels like it's just stupid. Why are you doing this?
What is the purpose of that?
Yeah,
I mean,
it holds something in place, in the packaging. I don't know.
Huh.
But then, also, the shoes are held on with these rubber bands that are immediately lost.
Yeah, because they're probably tiny.
Because they're these tiny rubber bands, and you want to take off the shoes. So you take off the shoes, the rubber bands fall off.
It's gone.
It's gone. The shoe, no more rubber bands.
Is the rubber band designed to just be a shipping thing, or is it supposed to always hold the shoe on Barbie's foot? Is that supposed to be a permanent thing?
I don't know, but the shoes don't stay on the feet very well without the rubber bands.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Maybe it is just supposed to be a shipping thing.
Yeah.
But if it's not, if it is, then why did the shoes not stay on her foot? But, and I don't have any problem with Barbie in general. The whole idea of a girl can do anything. That's great. Yeah. My daughter happens to like all of the, puppy ones. And the the animal. Speaking of, she got some money for something from one of her grandparents, our great grandparents, and we went to the store to pick out whatever she wanted, and she bought this thing with it was a Barbie with a dog. And I was like, oh, that's fine, whatever. You've already got a vet set, but if you want more dogs, fine, whatever. I didn't realize that the dog, there's a big dog, and there are 3 tiny dogs.
Okay.
And the tiny dogs go in the big dog's belt, so it's this, so it has puppies.
Yeah.
Is the idea.
Right.
and I didn't realize that, and I was a little taken aback with how that worked. I was just, why?
Yeah.
Why is this a thing that happens with children's toys?
Interesting.
This should not be a thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like you said, I cannot relate. The closest I can relate to this is when I do have a younger sister, and so when I was a kid, she had lots of Barbies and the big Barbie playhouse in the car and stuff. And we had G.I. Joe.
Yes.
And my sister always wanted Barbie to marry G.I. Joe. And, my brother and I were like, no, G.I. Joe's going off to war. And, so we always thought that was annoying. But
well, she would just be sad. G.I. Joe goes, that's the making of like a great drama.
Of a movie.
A great movie. G.I. Joe and Barbie get married. That's Barbie 2, right?
That's the Barbie sequel.
That's the Barbie sequel.
Right there.
Barbie forgets about Ken, marries G.I. Joe, but then G.I. Joe has to go off to war to fight Cobra.
Ryan Reynolds is not going to be happy about this.
I think this is a brilliant.
No, it wasn't Ryan
Gosling.
Reynolds.
Ryan Gosling.
Thank you.
Ryan Reynolds will be playing G.I. Joe.
Have you seen the Barbie movie?
I have. I did watch the Barbie movie.
I'll admit, I do want to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but I kind of want to see it.
We watched it. Let's see. Oh, that was Christmas, 2023. So that was the Christmas after it came out that we watched it. And it was we had a lot of personal stuff going on at that point.
Yeah.
It was a really bad Christmas.
Yeah.
So, overall, it's not a terrible movie. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I didn't, I haven't watched it since. So usually if there's a movie that I really like, I'll watch,
multiple times.
I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
It was not something that I was like, oh yeah, I need to see that again.
Yeah.
So, it was not bad for a movie about Barbie, right?
Yeah. That's kind of the vibe I got, was like, I'll see that when it's streaming. I'm not going to pay money for it, but once it's streaming, I'll watch it.
Yeah. No, and it was not bad.
Yeah.
Now the sequel with Ryan Reynolds as G.I. Joe
is going to be awesome.
That's going to be awesome, and I'm absolutely going to go see that.
We will settle for just a small payout of whatever
for real
does.
for putting the idea out into the universe. Now, if this actually happens, I'm going to be so mad. So, because I'm going to 100% this is going to start making the rounds on the internet immediately. I'm going to do everything that I can at that point.
Wouldn't this serve as proof that we had the idea first?
Yes, but that doesn't
matter.
Make copyright law, unfortunately.
Darn.
Now I guess I don't know. Maybe.
I'll talk to my wife. She used to work in some copyright stuff.
We'd have to figure that out.
She worked in patents.
Yeah.
So,
if that movie comes out where Barbie marries G.I. Joe, we're gonna be rolling in it.
I mean, listen, just a small payout. We're not greedy here. Just
I don't know what you're talking about.
Speak for yourself.
Ryan's not greedy. Josh had the idea. Josh wants the money.
Pay up.
Come on. We're talking about a studio here.
Who made it? Who made the first one?
Warner Brothers, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because
they can pay. Come on.
It was on HBO Max. So I mean, I guess from their perspective, it would be pennies.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
In our perspective, to them it's small.
Right. To them it would be a small payout, but a couple $1,000,000.
Exactly. That's small to them.
That's small to them.
You're catching on.
Huge. I get it now. I get what you're saying. I smell what you're stepping in.
We're not greedy. Just slide us a little something and we'll go away.
You won't hear from us again.
We'll be done.
Yep. All you'll hear is lots and lots of, I don't know.
This going viral. You'll hear this going viral.
This going viral. And you'll hear a lot more from the Dead Tired Dads at that point.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
At that point, we could do this full time.
Our platform would grow quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. We would, and that would be brilliant. So come on.
Come
on, Warner Brothers. Let's do it. Mattel, let's go.
That'd be amazing.
Barbie meets G.I. Joe.
Of all the ways that Dead Tired Dads blows up, Barbie is the way that it happens. Would be amazing.
That would be great. I'm down for it. I am here for that, man. I am 100%
How did you guys catch your big break, Barbie?
We just came up with an idea, put it out on the internet.
It was beautiful.
It was stolen by Warner Brothers, and we had to sue them.
You know.
No, we didn't. They paid us willingly.
Your usual success story.
Yeah, absolutely. It works out brilliantly. Oh, well, that's my story and my, side quest there.
I like it.
Do you have anything, or do we want to dive into this chaos?
I say we dive into it.
We dive into the chaos and madness. So there was a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct that was came out at the beginning of the month.
A thing happened.
A thing did happen, and there was much gnashing of teeth.
Woo! Woo!
I mean, good.
You could say that again.
Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna speak for myself first off. The Switch 2 looks amazing.
It does.
I'm still excited about it. I'm still probably buying it on day one. I was incredibly disappointed with the Switch 2 Direct.
I think you're disappointed for different reasons than me, though.
Probably, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you care to elaborate on that now, or should we?
Well, I mean, so my disappointment revolves around the lack of first-party support that they're coming, like at launch.
I kind of figured that was
like that's like you've got. I mean, obviously, I am so stoked about Metroid Prime 4. It looks amazing.
It does look really good.
It looks amazing on the Switch 2. It looks so good. Oh. But Donkey Kong Bonanza looks like a lot of fun.
That looked really cool.
It looks like a really great game. Rumor has it that game was actually originally Super Mario Odyssey 2, and they changed it because they realized that the Mario movie is going to come out next year. And they need a game to launch alongside the movie.
Okay. Sure.
So there's that. And then Mario Kart World also looks incredible. Everything about that looks really cool. I'm really excited about that. Ryan, I know you have thoughts on that, though.
I do have thoughts. It's my turn to complain.
Go ahead.
$80. $80 for Mario Kart.
$80 for Mario Kart.
I'm not on board, Nintendo.
I can understand why you wouldn't be.
I'm not.
I can understand why you wouldn't be. I am still on board. I am on board for $80 Mario Kart.
Bad, Josh. Bad.
I have gotten over the sticker shock because, like, I understand. I totally get your perspective. Like, it seems ridiculous for a Mario Kart game to be $80.
Yeah.
I get it.
So, I'm not saying that there's no game worth $80. Because there may be. Some games are really great. They're groundbreaking. They're, the best in their class or whatever. Fine. Mario Kart's not that. I just can't. I can't do it. I cannot pay $80 for Mario Kart.
So here's the thing, though. Like, I don't think this is just Mario Kart, though. This isn't just like Mario Kart, as in like, okay, you're gonna pick a track, you're gonna race, you're gonna do your Grand Prix. Like, it's an open world thing. Like, it's Breath of the Wild. They took Breath of the Wild and they made Mario Kart with Breath of the Wild. So you can drive anywhere.
But why?
So here's my take on this. I'm
ready for it.
My kids love playing Mario Kart.
Yes, true. Mine too.
My kids love playing Mario Kart. My kids are not good at Mario Kart.
Okay, I understand.
But for them to have the ability to play Mario Kart and just go and explore.
Just drive randomly.
And drive around.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool idea.
All right, so I'm with you. That is a cool idea, and it's perfect for what you just described.
Yeah.
$50. Not $80.
Now, again,
you could even say, hey, Ryan, how about $60 because you're paying an extra $10 for the open world? Okay, fine. I'm on board.
Okay.
$80?
Well, again, you can get it for 50, Ryan.
Which tells me that they could sell it for 50.
No. They always, whenever they bundle something with the console, they take a loss on the game to bundle it with the console.
This is true, and I also know unquestionably, because you can look at their financial statements, that Nintendo is not hurting in any way, shape, or form.
No, but they still have to pay the people who developed the game. They do.
And they're doing great at it.
No,
I mean, they're coming off of their best... No, excuse me. Not their best. The whole market.
Yes.
Best-selling console ever. Not just Nintendo. Ever. Anybody. Sega, Xbox.
Did it outperform the PS2?
It has now outsold. It's the most sales.
Wow.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
It's the most sold console ever.
That's wild.
Nintendo can afford to sell me Mario Kart for less than $80. I promise you they can afford it.
So here's the thing, though. Like, Donkey Kong Country was $80 when it came out in the 90s.
Why?
Because it cost a buttload of money to make the game.
That was a good game, but it wasn't $80.
It cost that much when it came out. So, like, here's the thing. That cost $80 when it first came out. And then the price of games actually dropped after that.
Okay, that's true.
And it has stayed below that for the last 20 plus years.
And why is that?
Why is that? Because up until this point, the market would not support any more, like a higher price game.
Yeah.
But that's also why we got garbage games that just repeated themselves over and over again because people didn't feel like they could charge anymore for the game.
I think there's another reason that we've gotten garbage games over and over. Because people keep buying them.
Well,
how many people go and buy Call of Duty and Madden and Assassin's Creed every single year?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But they have to remake that game. They figured out a formula, and in order to make up the loss that they're taking for the ones that they sold previously, they have to basically remap the game over. This is just my take. This is just what I see. I could be completely wrong on this. But to me, like, I think we've gotten to a point where it makes sense that developers actually do charge more. I don't like it, but it's inevitable, and it's with the market being so. That's the other thing. Like, the market has grown so much since the early 90s. So, like, the fact that the game was $80 then, because it was such a niche thing, like, you had to, then if you make more of them, if more people are buying, you can spread the cost out and the loss out over, the course of time. But I don't know. I like I said, I don't necessarily like it, but I'm okay with paying $80 for Mario Kart. I really am. I don't want to, but I will.
Listen, if they would, I knew they weren't going to, but if they would have came out and been like, here's Breath of the Wild 2. Okay, maybe I'll pay you $80 for that. I'd at least entertain the idea.
They did that. That was Tears of the Kingdom.
I know. And I went on release night. Paid them $70 for it.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't do it with Mario Kart.
Then that's fair. But I think there's a lot. I think that there will be a lot of content in there that is so much more than what we're expecting from a Mario Kart game.
Here's what I can do. I can put it on my kids' Amazon list, and my mom can buy it for them for Christmas.
There you go. There you go.
That's what I can do.
That's what you can
do. With
an
$80 Mario Kart game.
And I will look forward to playing with you when you finally get it, and then you going, oh man, this was so worth the $80.
I will never say that. Out of pure stubbornness, I will never say that.
Oh man. But so beyond Mario Kart, like, so we talked about, I mentioned Donkey Kong Bonanza, So we mentioned that briefly, but I think that one is actually going to be like a super cool game.
Of all the stuff they showed, that was the thing I thought looked the coolest. Like I was the most excited about that.
Other than Metroid Prime 4, right?
That was a close second, but I just was really excited. I don't know, like.
Well, we haven't had an actual Donkey Kong game since Donkey Kong 64.
It just looked.
Right? Am I wrong on that? I feel... Oh, well, I mean, I guess I am wrong on that. But not a 3D one. They've all been side-scrollers, I think.
I think so, yeah.
I could be wrong on... I have not paid a lot of attention to the Donkey Kong world, if you did, if you haven't noticed.
It to me, what it was, is it had this classic Nintendo character with a unique take on gameplay mechanics and the world and how the world works.
Well, and pretty much everything, from the looks of it, everything is destructible.
You can destroy everything in the environment. But it just looked like, okay, I hate to harp on Nintendo a little bit, but sometimes they'll give you the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talking about you, Pokemon. So I like that they took a chance on something different, and it just looked really cool to me.
For sure.
That's not to say anything bad about Metroid, but
I think that Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be really good. And obviously Metroid Prime 4 I think is just going to be absolutely stellar. I'm really excited about that. I'm disappointed. So we'll get into my disappointment a little bit more here. I was really, really expecting, because on our last news episode, we were like, they're going to announce, like, you had heard, like, this rumor.
Oh, yeah, the rumors.
The new Zelda, there's going to be a Zelda launch title, there's going to be a Mario launch title, and then there's the Metroid, like, obviously Metroid Prime 4. And it's like, none of that.
Yeah.
Nothing, other than the, re-releases of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. And it's like, I mean, yeah, great. I'm not willing to rebuy those right now. Like, I'm just not. Like, I've got them on the Switch. They'll play on...
I think that also played into my frustration with the $80 Mario Kart, because it's like, all right, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You're remastering or upgrading or whatever.
Right.
These games that we just bought, just played. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
It just felt like I cannot think of the word. It's not greed, but it just felt like tacky almost.
Yeah.
Like, come on, don't do that. Like,
no, I can appreciate that feeling. I can definitely appreciate that sentiment. And I had when it first came out, like, I was so hyped up. Like, I was so hyped for the whole thing. But I felt like after watching the Direct, I was just like, is that it? Is that really all we're going with? Now, I'm, again, like, as I've sat with it, like, at first, like, the news was just, like, fast and furious, like, of everything that was coming out about the Switch 2. Like, there was so much information, and a lot of it was, like, really negative. There was, like, so much negative stuff coming out. And, like, then, like, as I'm absorbing, like, oh, the game cartridges don't even have, like, the games on them. They're just key cards.
Yeah.
And, like, all of this information getting thrown at me, and I'm just like, whoa, like, that's just not good.
And it was all, like, partial truths.
Yeah, right, and everything ended up being, like, partially true. And I'm like, okay, like, Mario Kart $80, fine. Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be $70. Like, so, like, so it's not that the $80 is going to be, like, the standard,
That was part of the problem. Nintendo didn't communicate very well.
No, they did not communicate anything very well.
They were very, like, short on information, and then they let everyone else
they
who has a YouTube channel just run with it.
They did not take control of the narrative.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And they intentionally, I think, did not discuss the price in the Direct.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like,
they left it out on purpose.
Which is, like you said, that's a little tacky.
Yeah.
That's a little tacky, because, like, you're just trying to hype people up. The tech special thing that they're selling for, like, $10 or $20, that is just like, who's going to who's going to pay for that?
Yeah.
I like maybe someone will, but like I don't know.
Yeah, that was to me that was just dumb.
Yeah, that was a dumb. Like if you're gonna do something like that, package that in.
Just put it in.
Put that in there. Yeah. You can take the loss on that.
And maybe I'm not understanding, but as best I can tell, all it is like a little digital world that shows you how the Switch works.
It's
like is that all?
It looks to me like it's just like a spec. Like
shows
game.
you all the specs
of the Switch 2.
Okay.
Which I mean, that's a cool little way to do it. But like,
I would definitely tinker around with it if it was free just thrown in. I'd be like, oh, this is
absolutely
unique.
Absolutely.
To make me pay for it.
Now, I gotta say, the camera. I was kind of excited about the camera idea and the way that they're doing multiplayer.
Yeah.
I like the chat feature.
Yep.
I like the camera feature. I hate that it's, an additional $50, but, whatever. But I like the idea of being able to like all play games together even if we're not in the same room, and we can be playing different games,
different things,
and watching each other play or helping each other play. I think that does something that games have gotten away from in a lot of respects, because it's one thing to be able to like play and talk with each other while you're playing the same game, or to be able to play and talk with each other while you're playing different games. But if you can't see it, you know, you're not able to. One of the things that was really cool that I remember as I was growing up was playing a game with someone else, like with a friend of mine watching me play, or with me watching a friend of mine, and we're taking turns, we're going back and forth, trying to get through a level or figure out something. Yeah. And it's like, oh no, that's what you have to do, and like being able to like point out the different things that you might be missing, right? Yeah. And like we don't
together,
right? Yeah. We don't have that. Right, there is no system that allows you to do that. Right. Yeah. And that's a different way that Nintendo, I think, is trying to pull something like that back out, which I think is really cool.
I thought it was cool too, and I really like the camera. I think Matt shared it in our group chat.
The Piranha Plant.
Yeah, I love that.
That one's very cool, and that one's actually cheaper than the official Nintendo
right,
one.
Which is even better.
Which is really funny, but that one's only 480i, and the Nintendo one is 1080p. Ah, okay. So it's a resolution. At least makes sense. It's a resolution thing, so it makes sense that it's cheaper. I think that Nintendo missed the mark on being able to do something like that themselves, though. Yeah. Like, what? Why are you giving me a black stick?
But surely they had to approve that.
Oh no, it's an officially licensed product.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is an officially licensed product. Yeah. But like, why didn't Nintendo do that? Done it themselves. Why didn't Nintendo do that? What are you thinking? And then some of the third-party games that they came out with, that they announced, like, yeah, those are cool. The Cyberpunk 20, Yep. Having Cyberpunk on the Switch 2 would be cool. I'm not gonna buy it again. Like I already got Cyberpunk. Well, you know what? I guess I could, because
didn't you get a really good deal on
it? I paid $10. Yeah, I paid $10 for Cyberpunk, right after it came out, or not right after, but like in the fall after it came out, because everyone was just like, this game is trash.
People were so mad about it. Josh capitalized.
I capitalized on it. And like that game is now like, back up to like $60. Yeah. Because they fixed everything. Yeah. But crazy. But yeah, at the time it was $10.
I still have not played it, so maybe this will be when I finally buy it.
And so I have heard that Split Fiction is also, which we talked about on the last news episode, that will also be coming out on Switch 2. But I heard from someone who went to one of the the things where you could do the hands-on stuff. Oh yeah, I saw a video where he was like, Split Fiction kind of pushed it to its limit as far as like its ability to function. So it was kind of draggy on there. So, maybe that's going to be one of the things that we'll see how it does. Yeah. So it's still, I'm still excited about it. I'm still probably buying it day one, and will be the only one of the four of us playing Mario Kart by myself.
I'd really like to get the console day one, but I just don't know how I feel about, like, there's no of the other first party games, none of those are launch titles, right? Like Metroid and...
I think Metroid Prime 4 is.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
What about Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong is like the next month.
So I can see myself
Donkey Kong is like in
that.
July.
Yeah.
In June or July, yeah.
I mean, my birthday is in July, so
yeah.
It's all lining up.
Yeah.
One of the things that disappointed me, similar to you, is we talked about those rumors about like what they were gonna do.
Right.
So they had the direct, and then the next 2 days they had like 3 or 4 hour tree houses.
Right.
And there was all these rumors about what that was gonna be, and
it was nothing.
Wherever those people got their rumors from, they were wildly inaccurate. Yeah. So it was not that at all. They were
probably just making those rumors up.
Because I had expected, based on those rumors, that one day was going to be like first-party titles, and then this next day was going to be third-party titles. And I stopped watching, but really what it was just them...
It was gameplay.
Playing the games that they already announced the day before and talking about it. Yeah. So I was like...
What's the point? Yeah. What's the point? It's, I think what is positive about the games that they announced, the positive spin on that, the thing that killed the Wii U was that it did not have third-party support. It did not have companies that were willing to come out and go, yeah, we're going to make games for this.
Yeah.
You've gotten major players now that are going, okay, we are in on the Switch 2.
It's a big deal in terms of
we are in on the Switch 2.
Console's viability.
Yeah. So EA has said, hey, yeah, we're going to be making Madden games for like we're going to be making FIFA. We're going to like that's not something that they didn't make Madden for the Switch, did they? I don't think they did. I don't think there's a Madden game. I can't
speak to Madden. I have a FIFA game on the Switch.
So, well, and maybe they're not making Madden on the Switch. I don't know.
I don't know about Madden. I don't think so. Like I said, I do have it was like old 2018 or 2019 FIFA game, but I have one. So.
Yeah, so I mean, but for third parties like that, and then there's that exclusive that they did at the or right before Donkey Kong. I don't remember what, like the vampire one.
Oh yeah,
or something.
Yeah.
Not something I'm interested in, but like that's an exclusive from a big. I can't remember what game they were behind, but they were behind one of those like really Souls type games. Yeah, it's just like impossibly hard. That
it kind of looked cool to me.
But it looks like a cool game, but it seems very graphic and
and it's gonna be difficult and
and it's not up my alley at all. But it looks cool, and the fact that that's a Nintendo exclusive, being something that would have previously been a Sony available. Exclusive, for them to come out and go, yeah, this is only gonna be on the Switch too.
Yeah,
I think that's a big deal for
It is. It definitely. Well, like you said, it's what happened to the Wii U. Yeah.
So it speaks to at least the long-term viability. Assuming that kind of keeps up, and so as much as I am disappointed that they didn't announce more first party stuff right now, that's coming. Like, it's not that they're not going to come out with a Mario game.
It's funny you mentioned that rumor. That makes a ton of sense for them to have something that, I mean, that, let's be honest, that'll just not that I would agree with it. But that's the game you make $80 because
no, for sure.
With the popularity of the movie, the first movie, and that one would sell easily. Like,
and that one probably will be 70, 80 bucks. Probably. The other thing we kind of touched on this briefly, the game cards being simply key codes.
Yeah.
So. Other people have already set this rumor to bed. We're going to set it to bed here. It's mostly third-party games that are going to be doing that. Nintendo's not doing that, but other third-party games are. But even Cyberpunk will be on the game card.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be like just a download. But the one that the big one I think was Street Fighter that's the one that people saw and were like, what?
Yeah. So I'm curious if you read, because what I read, and maybe I'm misremembering, maybe you read the same thing. What I read that finally calmed some of the anger about it is it's third-party games, and it's being left up to the developers if they want to pay for the size, the amount of gigabytes they would need on the card to fit their whole game. So like Cyberpunk, they have decided that they're going to put the whole game on a cartridge. So they've decided to pay to take on the cost of whatever that looks like.
Right.
That's what I read that finally made it make some sense.
Yeah, no, that absolutely makes a ton of sense. And I can't fault people for doing that, but like I still hate it.
When they showed it, like as I watched live, when they showed that, I was like, "You have got to be kidding me!" Like,
yeah, no, that was one of those moments when I started hearing that rumor, I was like, "Oh, you've lost me." Like that was the thing.
Nintendo
that I was
finally
just,
pushed
that
Josh
I was
away.
just like, "No, we are not doing that."
Yeah.
But then I found out like, oh, okay, just third-party stuff. Nintendo's still gonna put everything on the carts. We're good.
Because obviously there's different sizes of cards, different gigabyte sizes of cards. So like Street Fighter, apparently they've decided they don't want to pay the amount necessary, and I do understand why. Like because it's up to them to figure out how to make their game work on a console. And so their choice is to go digital. So
well, and this allows us to shift away from Nintendo for at least a moment.
Yeah, here we go.
Because there is, in the realm of if you can't hold it, you don't own it.
Yes, we love that realm.
There is a lawsuit currently ongoing from two people who against Ubisoft.
Oh my goodness, yes.
These guys had copies of the game The Crew.
Okay. Yep. Never played it, but I'm familiar with it.
It's a racing game, I believe, of some sort. Not something that I was into, but Ubisoft shut down the servers.
Yep.
And the game was no longer it completely shut down the game. The game is no longer playable.
Yeah, they have a disc that they cannot do anything with. It is a brick
disc and doesn't function at all in any way, shape, or form.
Terrible.
Ubisoft's contention is that when you buy a game, you are not buying the game, you are buying a license for the game, and that they still have complete control over it.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And they are 100% wrong.
That's the stupidest thing.
That's what they're taking to court.
You know what? We've never cursed on this podcast, but that's like dangerously close to making me curse.
No,
like,
that's
the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
No, but that is their argument. That is their argument.
It's a stupid argument.
It's a bad argument. So yeah, the two gamers, and this is I got this report from IGN, so we're gonna want to credit my source
there
here.
You go.
So they had been under the impression they were paying to own and possess the video game The Crew instead of paying for a limited license to use The Crew.
And they were under that impression because up until now, that's how video games has always worked.
And so one of the things with this is several years ago, California actually passed a law that said basically that video game companies have to explicitly state if you are just buying a license for the game. And because when you're buying something on Steam, you technically are. Like anything that you buy on Steam on a computer, you're technically just buying a license for the game. You're not buying the actual game. But when you buy a physical copy of something, like
you're buying the game.
That feels like you're kind of buying the game, right? Yeah. And so if you're coming out and telling me, well, no, you just have a license for it, then we are getting into dangerous territory.
The best thing that can happen there is the judge responds more harshly than I am right now and tells them that it's the stupidest thing he's ever heard too.
I certainly hope he does. I hope that works out really well in
imagine all your movies if they just like stopped working.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, why aren't my DVDs working? Well, you didn't actually buy the DVD. You bought a license to use it. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It's a bad argument. It's a terrible argument. And I don't know. And maybe there's a disclaimer in the crew, like in the packaging for the crew that says, like, this is... congratulations on buying your limited license.
I mean, if there is, then
yeah, maybe, but like,
then it's just a really crappy thing to do.
Yeah,
but
like it's a terrible thing to do.
It's at least technically legal,
right? But I don't see how you make that or win that argument. I just don't see it. I can't. So there's that. But so the positive on that is, those guys could win, and it could end up being, like when we make games, they come out. The negative on that becomes, okay, well, if we can't, because we can't completely support these games on physical media.
Yeah.
So everything's just going to be digital moving forward, and it will all be licenses. Like, that's the... Like, if they win, like, that is one way that it could go, right?
Yeah.
It could, because there's too much liability for making a game that you can't, and then going, well, we can't support this anymore, so we have to shut it down.
So, then, okay, so obviously, this might be an obvious question, but does that mean that that game, the crew, only works if you're connected to the internet?
Yes.
Okay.
It's my understanding.
I mean, it would have to if it's on a server. Like,
yeah, that was my understanding.
Yeah.
Now they did have, the thing was, they had the Crew 2 that had come out.
Yeah.
And when they shut down for that, they set up a separate server that was ongoing for that one. It's just nothing new on that one. But they did not do the same thing for the Crew 1.
Huh.
Is my understanding anyway.
Interesting.
So anyway, it was a precursory glance that I kind of looked through the article, but I thought that was that could be a very positive thing in the realm of physical media. And hopefully that leads to more positive things. I just hate the idea, like, and I've said this before, like, I hate the idea that, like, one day, like, I'm just going to have all of my stuff and it's just going to stop working. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, obviously, like, eventually that's what happens. Things degrade, things, break down and no longer function. But, you want that to be way in the future, not
not when a company arbitrarily decides.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I like Ubisoft for a lot of stuff. Ubisoft is the company that made Rocksmith. So I love them for that. But they, I feel like, are kind of on this forefront of trying to push gamers to digital stuff. And they, like, even the CEO, I think,
they're open about it.
Like, said at one point, like, gamers just aren't ready for digital, to like feel like they don't own their stuff and they need to get over it or something like that.
Yeah, I think the words he said were they need to get comfortable with it.
Oh, they need to get comfortable with it. And, like, they're just trying to push it. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
No. And they're also the company that's behind Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
So I mean, that's the kind of people that you're dealing with. That they're the one. Because they are the ones who are just pushing out.
They're pumping it out every year.
The same thing every single year. And so I think that has something to do with kind of their
they want
mentality.
They want you to pay $10 a month. To essentially stream their games.
Yes. Exactly. And they don't have to. That way, they have a consistent revenue. They don't have to come up with anything. They don't have to reinvent the wheel ever. But I just think that's a terrible. The idea that, like, you just own a license is just bad. Like, that's
so bad. That is so bad.
That's a bad take.
They gotta lose that. That's terrible. That is a stupid argument.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely a bad argument, and they're wrong. They are wrong. Like, they're just wrong. Like, I don't see how that could Again, legal disclaimer: I'm not a lawyer. I don't have any opinion. Like, I don't, whatever. But I don't see how they could possibly win that case, right?
You're right. We are not lawyers. We do practice common sense, though. And common sense tells me that is a stupid argument.
I mean, I can't like if that's the case, and like Nintendo could just like anyone could just come into my house and just be like, "Hey, by the way,
that was actually only a license." That
these all of these games like that you have
those Legos you bought, that was just a license to have them. We're taking them. We're
taking those back.
Yeah,
like no, I'm sorry. That's just an insane take. I can't even.
Stupid. It's so stupid.
So so that's that. So hopefully we get some positive things on that front. In other really interesting news.
Oh, here we go.
Apparently Xbox Live on the original Xbox is now accessible again.
Huh.
I saw a video.
Interesting.
I saw a video where like a guy like went in, like some people like reset up the servers, and like you can go in. You have to there's a bunch of steps you have to take. You have to download a thing, but you don't have to mod your Xbox or anything. It's just getting this certain file inserted into your Xbox, and you can re-access Xbox Live so that you can play for free. You know, go back and play Halo 2 on Xbox Live with your friends over,
that's wild.
over the internet.
I had not heard that. That's really cool.
It's a really cool. It was a really cool video to see, and and that's the kind of stuff that like gets me pumped up. Like I love stuff like that.
That is really cool.
But those are the two non-Nintendo things that I had. But so we can continue our conversation on Nintendo.
Well, one thing I thought we would do. I mean, everyone's seen it by now, but we didn't really mention. So some of the things. Well, just some things that I thought were cool. I like the bigger screen on the Switch 2. Can't remember exactly how much bigger, but
it's like significantly
2 or 3 inches bigger. The controller, it's going to be a little bit taller.
Yeah.
Which I like. I have actually talked to multiple people. I got a really good friend who is he's the biggest gamer I know, and he has not played hardly any of the Nintendo Switch because the controllers are just not comfortable in his hand.
Oh.
And I've tried to convince him to get, a pro controller, and he hasn't done it yet.
He needs to get a Nintendo 64.
No. No, he does not, Josh.
Those controllers are great.
Sure they are. Sure they are. They're almost as great as paying $80 for Mario Kart. That's how great they are.
Oh.
But I've had a couple conversations like that where people just that was like
I think there's going to be a lot.
They loved the Switch but didn't like the size of the controller, and I think that'll.
I think there's going to be a lot of thing. And the other thing with the controller stuff that they did that was actually really good, backwards compatibility. So your Switch stuff will work.
That's right.
With Switch 2, so that's good. And I think that the mouse feature that's
really interesting.
Yeah.
Like.
So this leads me to my to more of my conspiracy theories.
Oh.
So the mouse feature really, I think, brings up points to the possibility and even the likelihood, I would say, that Xbox Live ends up with an app.
Oh, it's
on
happening.
The Switch 2.
It is happening.
And not only like Xbox Live for like console stuff.
Yeah.
But Xbox Live, or not Xbox Live. Game Pass. I'm saying Xbox Live because I was talking about Live before. Game Pass.
Yep.
Game Pass being on the Switch. But also PC, like Game Pass.
It's happening.
On the Switch. And that would be super cool because you've got a mouse that's built in.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you put Age of Empires on the Switch?
I've been telling you guys for months. It's happening.
Well, and they announced Civ 6, I think 6 or 7.
One of those.
One of the two. I guess whatever the most recent Civ
the newest one.
Is going to be on the Switch 2, and you're going to be able to use the mouse feature.
Yep.
So again, Age of Empires on the Switch 2, it makes tons of sense. I think it's coming.
I'm telling you that Game Pass is coming to Nintendo, and it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome. I don't doubt it. It's going to be good. But that again leads to one of the detriments. Battery life is garbage.
This is true.
The battery life is absolute trash, especially compared to the to the later Switch models.
Yeah.
But
this is true.
Also kind of like, you kind of have to expect that, right?
Yeah.
To some extent.
And I mean, like, for the most part, I'm just thinking about myself, who I've mentioned before, like, I travel internationally for work. I'm almost always somewhere where I can plug in.
Right.
So, like, even on airplanes now, there's plugins underneath the seat.
And I think
so it's not a huge deal. I mean, it's definitely something that, like, I hope they improve on.
They 100%, like, you know that they will.
Yeah.
Like that, because the original Switch, like, the battery life was trash, and then, like, they very soon after came out with the better battery life.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a matter of technology catching up, and them figuring out how to. Nintendo's always working to figure out how to make things better and improve on things like that.
That one they'll figure out.
They'll get that down. But that was a disappointment for them to take that step backwards. It is what it is. And you got, like I said, it's kind of what you would expect, right?
Yeah.
Like, just with the better graphics, the hardier.
It's a natural step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like the magnet.
The magnet
instead of the slide and click.
Well, the magnet thing, like, because the big fear, like, with a lot of people was that, like, oh, it's just gonna, like, break off. Like,
yeah.
And, like, I expressed that concern too on this podcast, but, like, the way that what they've shown is just like, oh,
it looks pretty cool.
No, that, like, locks in there, and that does not go anywhere.
Yeah,
so
I like that. I haven't had the problem yet with, like, loose, like, I've heard some people, like, have issues where the controller doesn't click on and stay on really well on their Switch.
I haven't had that issue.
I haven't had that issue, but I've heard of people having it. And
now, granted, I didn't get. I have the Zelda OLED model and, like, the second or third like, generation of the original Switch. So I don't know. I don't know if that was like
a launch thing,
a launch Switch thing or
I'm not sure.
But so, overall, I'm still really excited. I was disappointed with the launch and with the information that they released on launch. Like, I just think that it was that they did a poor job with the launch, even though I was really stoked for it. But, like I said, I'm probably still buying it day one. I'm going to pay $80 for Mario Kart. I'm going to get Metroid Prime 4 on the Switch 2.
Wait a minute, let's back up.
Backing up.
If you're buying it day one, don't pay $80 for Mario Kart.
I have to, right?
Buy the bundle.
I can't buy the bundle.
Why?
Because the bundle is a digital copy.
Digital? Yeah. That's true, because when I bought my Switch, I got a digital copy of Mario Kart.
Yeah. I thought about that. I was like, but then I was like, well, then I'm just gonna have to pay $80 for the physical copy later.
No.
So I will have paid $100.
Friends, this is why Nintendo can charge $80 for Mario Kart.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the GameCube on Virtual Console.
Oh yeah. So that was I got so hype about that.
That's exciting. And being able to kind of go back and, because I honestly, like, I had a GameCube. I got a GameCube late.
Yeah.
And I did not get a ton of like, it was not my favorite Nintendo console. Just wasn't.
My brother had one, but kind of the same thing. He got it late, and I don't remember exactly, but I was either not living at home anymore or I was close to not living at home anymore, and so I just didn't get a chance to play it much, and so
So I'm excited to go back and kind of experience some of those older or some of those old Nintendo games for the GameCube. Now, I would love to see, love to see some more stuff come out on that. I'd love to see a Dreamcast come out. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool for the Dreamcast to end up on the Virtual Console.
One thing that they did show, they only gave us about 10-second teaser of it, but it got me really hype. 007.
Oh yeah.
They didn't give us any context for what it was going to be, but
that I forgot about that.
They made a very clear reference to James Bond.
I completely forgot about that. I wonder if they're going to remaster GoldenEye.
That was my first thought, and I thought that's what they were going to show, but they just showed that little, whatever it is, the
scope,
the scope and the circle.
Yeah.
So they're doing something with James Bond.
Yeah,
we don't know what.
That one's. And so before that, we didn't get to talk about it on our last news episode, but the Treehouse, or not the Treehouse, but the Nintendo Direct that they did before that, where they just announced like end of life games for the Switch. There was a game on that one that I actually thought was really interesting looking. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a Pac-Man game, but it's not Pac-Man.
Yeah. My son and I were watching it together.
That one looks. I have no idea what it's called.
He said the same thing. He was like,
that game
it's
looks
Pac-Man,
awesome.
but it's not. And it did look cool.
Yeah, your friend Puck.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool take on Pac-Man and a really interesting way to like
that did look interesting.
Make a Pac-Man game without it being like waka 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 waka.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that one. That one's gonna be cool, and that's gonna be on Switch 2 as well.
Yep.
So yeah, lots of cool stuff. I still think, like I said, that the Switch 2 is going to be great. I'm still excited about it, and I can't wait for June. I'm gonna pre-order in a few days, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess at May 8th.
Is that when it?
I think is when pre-orders start. So
it was originally going to be April 9th, and then that got pushed back.
Yes,
so
that got pushed back.
I haven't heard the official date.
I think, let's see here. Let's get our research department on that real quick.
Tech team.
Get that figured out. Let's see. They'll be right with us with that in the meantime. Ryan, why don't you riff?
Okay, well, I did have one other news item that's not Nintendo related.
Oh, go for it.
By the time people hear this, maybe a week ago or so, Elder Scrolls Online just announced their next expansion, and they're making some pretty significant overhauls to that game. So that game is at least 10 years old now. And they're still coming out with content for it. If you're not familiar with it, it's an MMO. So it's definitely got plenty of stuff they can do. But they just announced. So to give you some history, what they've done traditionally for the past 8 or 9 years is each year they once a quarter they release part of that year's content.
Okay.
So if they, let's just say, for example, if they're doing something with dragons, they'll release something once per quarter over the year for that content, but nothing else.
Right.
They're moving away from that yearly, quarterly format to a more seasonal format. So it may not be
a quarter.
It may not be every quarter, and it may be, we may be working on this content for a year and a half, or
Gotcha.
Whatever it is. It's not going to be so rigid. So that's the one thing. And the other thing they're doing is, and this is really cool, they're actually going to allow you to, let's just say you're a sorcerer class. They're going to allow you to have up to 2 skill lines from other classes. So you could be a sorcerer who also has skills from a warrior, or whatever it is.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's allowing some customization, and it's a pretty cool thing. I've started playing it again in anticipation for that update, which comes out in June.
Yeah.
It's if you're into that game, that's a big.
You're not gonna have time to play that in June. You're gonna be playing Mario Kart in June.
No, I will not be. The only way that's going to happen, and it's not, but the only 1% sliver of a chance that happens is if I somehow am just having a really crazy day and I decide to buy the one that comes bundled digitally with the Switch 2.
Yeah, and you should. You should, because then I will have someone to play with.
No, I think I'll just play Elder Scrolls Online.
No, we need to...
It's an MMO. You could play that with me.
No.
And all you need is Game Pass, which you already have. It's working out perfectly.
Ryan, you said it's an MMO.
Yeah, it'll be fine. You're good.
If you want to know my experience with MMOs, you can go back and watch our World of Warcraft
classic videos.
Let's Plays.
Classic.
Which are just absolutely awful. In which I died a lot. that was oh gosh.
Good times. That's what
I'm gonna tell this story and then we're gonna be done, I think, unless you have anything else.
That was it for me.
Okay, so in one of those Let's Plays, we've gotta get people watching those things because they're so funny. So Matt was taking me to like one of like I've never played World of Warcraft in my life.
Yeah.
And Matt is telling me where to go, and like so I'm just doing what he tells me to. And they had just come out with like what was supposed to be like this scaling thing. So like if you went to a certain area, it was supposed to scale.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
To your level.
Yeah.
And so he was like, just go over there. It'll scale. Like
it did not.
It did not. And so I'm just wandering through, and like I get to this thing, and like this, I think it was a spider or something, like just jumps out and like just hits me once, and I just die.
You're gone.
And so I respawn at the cemetery.
Yep, with your little ghost.
Yeah. And then like I start walking again, and like something hits me and I die. And I was just like, what is happening here?
Oh, it's great content.
It was very funny. So yeah, World of Warcraft Let's Plays, you can find those on the YouTube channel.
Good stuff.
So I highly recommend going and check those out. And I think we've talked a lot about Nintendo. We talked a little bit about some if you can't hold it, you don't own it content. And, some old school stuff. So lots of great stuff on today's episode.
Good times. I told you, what are we going to talk about?
It's been good. What are we going to talk about? We'll find out next time.
There you go.
What the next episode will be on the Dead Tired Dads podcast. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate your time. And if you like this episode, you need to do all of the things. Yep. Like, subscribe, share. And also, we're on the socials. You can comment and you can talk to us. We will talk back. On our last episode on, I think it was 2 episodes ago on Spotify, I put up a poll that may or may not still be available on the Spotify channel.
Yes, people can comment and tell you how wrong you are about the N64 controller.
Look,
and they can tell you to not spend $80 on Mario Kart.
Listen. It's spend $80 on Mario Kart now when it's brand new, or spend $160 on it in 10 years. What do you want me to do, Ryan?
Neither.
I'm going to do one of the two. Like, which is better?
How many, just for fun, how many comments would it take for you to not buy it?
For me to not buy Mario Kart World?
Yeah. Like, how viral would it have to go?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you're talking something astronomical. Like, it's something that would
10,000 comments.
If I had, they would all have to be saying
10,000 people saying, "Josh, don't do that. That's crazy."
If there were 10,000 people telling me not to, but if there was just one that told me to, I'd go buy it.
And this is the problem. That right there is why Nintendo can charge $80 for Mario Kart.
You want to know what else? I'm gonna get the GameCube controller too.
I'm sure you are. Well, you know what? That's a better controller than the N64.
It's not. You know what? It's a shock to me that I haven't bought a Larmo yet. Like,
I am surprised by that.
I have not bought a Larmo yet.
I am surprised by that.
You know, I'm not quite there, but
you will. You will be.
You will be. You will be. You know, that's Yoda. That's a bad Yoda impression. But Empire Strikes Back, everyone? No? Maybe?
There you go.
Okay. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast. Do all the things, and if you want to comment or like or subscribe or share or do any of that, let us know. Let us know that you did it. We want to hear from you. So thanks so much. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
Bye.